What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. We have another special live edition of the Agents of Fandom podcast. We're not talking Marvel today. We're back in Star Wars zone, and we're going to be back when this hits the podcast feeds with another episode of our She-Hulk breakdown as well. But we're not worried about that right now. It's time to talk Star Wars. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich, and we had a last-minute sub for Garrett today. He had some work come up. You know who this is. It's cameraman Duran. Jaden, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm ready to talk about Andor because it honestly might be my favorite series, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. And you know what? I have to admit, my social reaction I put forth was flawed, and I need to make another post because I have to update it, and I'll tell that story in a bit. But we have another very special guest. Every time we talk Star Wars, she's one of my favorite people to bring on because we all know how much we here at the Agents of Fandom love the Phase Zero podcast, and they're always talking about Marvel, and I need to make sure Jamie gets her Star Wars outlet as well. Jamie Jirak, how are you doing?
Hello, yes, thank you. I love talking Marvel, but my goodness, nobody but you lets me talk about Star Wars, and I'm really grateful.
Well, you are always welcome to come on. If you want to just take on the entire next Star Wars show with us, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, I wish I had the time because I want to talk Andor all day. It is so good.
And so yeah, I'll kind of admit where I screwed up a little bit. I kept a very vague Chicago. I went to Chicago for the World Fantasy Baseball Championship, and then I was in Edmonton for the Edmonton Expo. We got lots of interviews. I wasn't sleeping much. I had some medication switches, and so I was going through a withdrawal, and I was just tired. Apparently, the people can't hear me. Oh, we're back. Twitch just messed it up, but we're back. So I'll restart my story quick. Anyways, I was tired. I had a lot going on, and I was just I got through the first two episodes, and I got through about the first half of the third episode, and then the embargo. It was time for the embargo social reaction. So I just kind of thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna only put my reaction out for the first two episodes, and I feel like my reaction was good for the first two episodes. And now that I watched episode 3 today, and the suspense built up a little bit more, Stellan Skarsgård came in. Oh my gosh, I love this show, but the two of you have known this for a while, and I'm just late to the party. So we're going to get into that for a second. Jamie, just for a brief second before we dive into it, why don't you tell us what you thought about She-Hulk as a whole so far? Because we're going to be recording our She-Hulk app tomorrow, just as you are on Phase Zero for the next episode. But what have you thought of the first five so far?
Oh, it's so much fun. It's really nice to have this lighthearted, funny, low stakes show starring the Queen of Queens, Tatiana Maslany. Like, it's just a good time. And if you don't think it's a good time, I mean, it's fine. But I think also if you think that, you're not fun. No, I think it's just fun. I like it, and I like that it doesn't. Not everything has to be world-ending crazy drama. Sometimes it's just goofy time, and we need that.
Yeah, I'm with you exactly, and I think things are going to get a little bit even more exciting with a potential a horned character coming in, who is of
Mhm.
course your favorite character, Jaden. What are your quick thoughts on the first five episodes of She-Hulk before we talk Andor?
I love it. I mean, it is. It's a lot of fun, and that little tease at the end of the last episode really got me hyped for tonight. I'm staying up to watch it, and then I'm gonna watch it again before you guys record because I'm gonna be in on that.
Exactly. And if you want more She-Hulk coverage, check out agentsofandom.com, where I just dropped my interview with Patty Guggenheim, who plays Madison. And I have a lot more awesome interviews coming as well. David Hayter, the writer of X-Men and also the voice of Snake in Metal Gear Solid, and so many other things. Also talked to Anjali Bhimani once again, as well as her co-stars Chloe Hollings and Carolina Ravassa, as well as Dante Bosco, who of course is Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He played Rufio in Hook, and we got a lot of good stuff coming to the website, including our store where you can pick up these hoodies, Agents of Fandom hoodies. And I just got another shipment in the mail. We got a nice, cool blue Agents of Fandom shirt here that I picked up.
I'm
that
so
just
jealous.
That's
we don't
clean.
have any Phase Zero merch.
I can't help get the Phase Zero merch out quicker, but if you want to DM me your mailing address, and I'm sure I can send one of these your way. But you're moving, so maybe not for a while. But
I love t-shirts. T-shirts are my life, and I definitely want one.
We can definitely fire one your way. I actually have this, I have a pile of shirts right now, so I can send you one of these ones because I was hoping they'd come in time for the expo, so I could bring one to give to Anjali and the other friends we've made so far. But make sure you head over to agentsfandom.com and check that out. I see we're close to a hype train here, so why don't I just fire some subs out quick so that we can hit a hype train. I love a hype train. That's the best part about live shows, is interacting with the chat. So thank you so much to everyone who's joining us here today. I see CJ, Emma, Brandon, Ryan, Damon. We got the whole Phase Zero crew here right now.
I wish I could read the chat. I wish I could see it. I'm sorry, guys.
Everybody, that's all right. Anytime there's a specific question, we will make sure to lend it to you. So far, there is a ton of Jamie, I love you. Oh my gosh, Jaden is here. Jaden, that shirt is amazing. Jamie, I love you. Jamie, I love you. Jamie, I love you.
Wow.
And thanks so much to Brandon and CJ, who are gifting some subs so far. Let's get into this. Andor. I gave my quick thoughts. I was sleepy, didn't enjoy it enough the first time. I'm loving it now. Jamie, what are your thoughts so far? I'm assuming you saw the first 4, right? Just not just the first 3.
I didn't watch the screeners.
I very rarely. So you and I are in the same boat.
Yeah. Disney screeners are too complicated. And also, one of my best friends, Annie, from high school, her and I in high school saw Revenge of the Sith together many times. We lived in New York at the same time when the last 2 Star Wars movies came out. So we saw those together. Like, if we can watch Star Wars together, we will. And she's in LA this week, so she came over at midnight last night. We watched it together. That was very special. Fun stuff, good stuff. I'm so glad they released these 3 together, because they do feel like together a pilot, a long pilot. I think separated, it would have been, I don't want to say the word boring, but like it's definitely like there's an arc there, and I'm glad that there are 12 episodes, because by the time we get to the end of episode 3, oh my god, it's just so good. And we are like, and all the stuff before was so good too. It's just it's slow, it's moving, it's not action packed, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But it hit well. And I have a lot of thoughts, but my easy quick thought is I love it, and I'm so happy to have Cassian alive and back on my screen.
Exactly. He's been great, and that 3rd episode, it really turned up, and that interaction with him and Stellan Skarsgård, it's just so incredible. Jaden, you wrote the review up for the first your spoiler-free review for the first 4 episodes of Andor. We're going to dive into your deep thoughts throughout this episode, but what were your general thoughts of from what you've seen so far? And no, I don't even, you know what? No, I don't want the episode 4 tease. Just give me your first 3 episode thoughts.
It was really good. Again, it did start off pretty slow, but with that 3rd episode, it definitely brings it full circle. And I think that Diego Luna really encapsulates Cassian. And I think that it's a character that I didn't really care much for come Rogue One. But after, we kind of get his story, we understand where he's coming from, and kind of like what the rebellion is kind of going to mean to him. That's going to be super fun. And again, I love it.
And so the one part about this show specifically that I don't really want to compare it to specifically to the other Star Wars shows, because it's so different. And I'm already seeing so many reviews of it's blowing Obi-Wan and Boba Fett out of the water, blah, blah, blah. It's it's a very, very different show. Obviously it doesn't capture the same nostalgia aspects. And it takes us to a different corner of the Star Wars universe, but The one part I do want to compare to Book of Boba Fett is how the use of flashbacks have been utilized. And I really, really like how they're doing it in Andor, and I like it a lot more in Andor than I did in Boba Fett. And just it kind of feels like almost Sam Raimi esque the way they switch the scenes from the flashbacks, like the one where Cassian he punches a wall inside of the ship in the flashback, and then it goes immediately to the large thing falling down in the middle. What, Jamie? I'll throw it to you first. What do you think of the storytelling style that they've kind of chosen in Andor?
I really like it because, like you said, I think that was an issue of Book of Boba Fett where they spent so much time on those flashbacks that where it's like I want to see what's happening now, and like I want to see what Ming Na Wen is up to, But and yeah, I think the editing, the pacing, it's really a good device because we had to see Cassian as a kid. Like I mean, how many times his line like I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. We got to see what that means. Although he looks older than 6, I need to know what happened pre this age. Like I assume,
If that's
yeah,
6, how little is that little sister at this
yeah,
point?
no, what my guess is that whatever was going on with this planet has been going on for a few years, and these kids are like on their own. That was my takeaway from it. Because he's definitely not 6 in those flashbacks. But I'm sure it'll get explained. But my thing is like, I'm curious of his dynamic with Fiona Shaw, who I love, and I'm happy is in the show because it's like she did kind of steal him, but was it for his
Aunt
own benefit?
Petunia.
Like, yeah, I need to name Petunia. I do need to. I'm curious to see because clearly they're close now. But I'm very curious, like what happened when for a while there because I'm sure he didn't want to leave his home and was just taken by this lady. Um, so yeah, I'm very interested in all aspects of Cassie and Andor's life.
You brought up Ming Na Wen, and it just reminded me, and I'm so happy because I would have hated myself if I forgot to show you this. But check out what I picked up at the Edmonton Expo.
Yeah, look at her. She's
I
the best.
finally got my Agent May pop. I have lots of Fennec Shans, but I finally got my Agent May pop.
I got a Funko thing today, and I'm not a big Funko person, but I forgot I ordered this, which is this WandaVision like little set piece
Nice.
thing. It's like a
Heck
mini.
yeah.
I don't know. I totally forgot I ordered it, but now I have it. So
You're a Parks and Rec person, right?
yeah. Mm.
I picked up this one too. This was a
Oh, cute.
Expo exclusive there, so I had to pick up my Ben Wyatt to go with my Leslie Nope Funko, and then I picked up an extra one for our pal Rachel Leishman as well because she asked me to.
Yeah, Rachel.
Actually, no, she didn't ask me to. I offered because she's the best.
I mean, and her cat is named Ben Wyatt, so
exactly. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Okay, I can't get one just for me. I got to pick one up for Rachel too." Jaden, what did you think of the unique storytelling style of Andor?
I really enjoyed it, and it's actually probably one of the things that I like about it the most. Because it's kind of exploring a part of Star Wars that we kind of didn't really get to see much before, and kind of like the dark and grittiness of it all, and like the dark unexplored corners of the galaxy and such. But it's really cool, and to see Andor, as this character, as someone that I'm actually beginning to care for. Definitely top 3 characters for me. But it's really cool, and I hope we get to see him reunite with his sister at some point because that's going to be interesting.
Top 3 of all time.
Top 3. No, let me rephrase. Top 3 of like the Disney era of Star Wars. Like, yeah.
I'm like, that's a bold statement, James. Let's clarify. I mean, I would respect it though if that was the answer. I just needed to know.
Not yet.
One of the things I'm excited about the prospects of Andor for is the specific time that it is set in, due to my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. So that's something I'm curious. I want to throw out there. Who are each of your who's your top tier of Star Wars characters?
Ever? All the time?
Ever. If you don't know, if you categorize it, if you don't know for sure.
when I was a kid, it was Chewbacca, hands down, all the way. It's kind of became Leia because she's, Leia. It's hard not to name her. But I have my soft spot for you and Obi-Wan as well. Uh that's a big one. I do have my most prominent tattoo on my body is of Holdo, so I feel like I have to name drop Holdo in this one. But she's a small, we don't see a lot of Holdo. I just love Laura Dern. I think is really more about what that choice is. This is tough. Han Solo's great. Yeah, I have. I will say though, in this new TV era, if I do get another tattoo of a character, it'll be either Pelimoto or Black Sand. Those I enjoy the two of them very much.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Jaden, how about you?
Just in this last minute to think about it, I would say definitely Han Solo. He's 100% because he's just one of the coolest characters ever. Chewbacca, gotta love their connection and their dynamic together, and Yoda. I love me a Yoda.
Love you some Yoda. We got CJ in the chat saying Obi-Wan and Anakin. Emma says Babu Freak.
Yeah, Babu represent. I can't wait for more little Babu creatures to come in Mandalorian season 3. I'm so excited to see more Babus.
The cutest. Babu Freak. Emma also threw in Glup Shido. And Garrett, who is busy at work but making an appearance in chat, throwing out his favorite, Captain Rex. For me, it's without a doubt Ahsoka Tano. She is my number one. I grew up as an Obi-Wan favorite, but as soon as I discovered the animated stuff, it became Ahsoka. And on command, if you can see behind me, there's my dog Obi-Wan just lounging upside down in his little chair.
Have we talked about that? I had a dog named Obi when I was a teenager. Have we talked about that?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I also had an Obi dog.
I love it. It's such a sweet name because there's so many. You can if you're mad, you can Obi-Wan. If you want to shorten it, it's just the Obi. We call him Bobi. It's a nice versatile name. Yeah, he does look comfy. He's just upside down. A great another favorite in the chat, Cal Kestis, another great call as well from the video games. My other favorites, Hera as well as Sabine Wren. And so Rebels is my favorite Star Wars content. And that's why I'm incredibly excited just about the prospects of it's around the same time frame as the animated Rebels. So you never know what could get name dropped. Even if people don't show up, you never know what could get referenced. Taking us through the specific episode, I personally wasn't kind of enthralled right away. From episode 1 and 2, but like I said, I don't know if I was in the right mindset. I was watching on a laptop. I was tired. Jamie, you talked about the slow burn aspect, but also how that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. What in particular about kind of the origin that we saw of Cassian Andor did you enjoy?
Well, I tweeted about this a little bit, and I want to go off on this a little bit because I love it. And it's about how there are a lot of people on the internet that are racist and sexist, and we see a lot of this. We saw it so much with Obi-Wan, with using the word woke. This is a woke show just because it features a Black woman, which is not they've just taken this word and made it a racist word. Just like She-Hulk is woke because it stars a woman. Rings of Power is woke because they're Black elves. That's nonsense. That is you're just being racist. And what I love about Andor is that I haven't seen that as much, even though it does star a Latino man. I haven't seen as much about it being woke, which is funny because of the true definition of that word before it was tainted. Andor is the most woke thing Star Wars has ever made, I think, because I spent all of last night being like, this is like some ACAB content right here, and I was living for it. But I haven't seen a lot of stuff about that, and I think it's because those people who are so just their racism and sexism is so surface and they're so stupid that they don't see what this show is, and I'm living for that.
So okay, before I forget, I want to touch specifically on long time. We know him from, I met him in the Phase Zero Twitch chat as well, and he's been a long time supporter of us at the Agents of Fandom. Brandon Moore, he wrote his very first article for agentsofandom.com. It's called Racism in Fandom and Examination. And Brandon messaged me He was like, "Hey TJ, I'm gonna be honest, I've been trying to get Brandon to do some content for us for a while because he's incredible." And he basically just told me, he was straight up with me. He's like, as soon as I got something that I feel like I want to use my voice for, we'll make it happen. And he messaged me and was like, "I think I found something. Do you mind taking a look at it?" And truly, it is the best, like without a doubt, the best thing we've ever published. But I genuinely think the best article essay I've ever written. It was like I've ever read. Sorry, it was heartfelt. It makes you tear up and gives you shivers and feel terrible about the important things going on in the world, while at the same time inspiring you to feel positive and hopeful by the end of it. It's just so incredible, so articulate. So make sure you check that out. Agentsoffandom.com. Brandon Moore's new article, Racism in Fandom, an
I
examination.
definitely will be. Brandon and I follow each other. I know Brandon. I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Heck yeah, he like it's incredible. It's just like I'm so happy to have Brandon as a part of the team because not only his talent as a writer, but his perspective and his voice is fantastic. And it's back to what you were saying, Jamie. I think it's hilarious how many people I saw on social media, like, not even like, I could have sworn it was satire, like I could have sworn it was parody, but who were just genuinely like, wait, like, why am I supposed to view this guy as a villain? He's going after people who, like, his men were just murdered. Like, am I supposed to not want him to do that? And just like, oh, all the context you are missing. And it's just kind of
Yikes.
hilarious. It's a testament to the writing, I think, because it's like you said, nobody's calling this one woke, but that's this is the like proper definition of it, because they're actually calling out institutional racism, and they're doing it in subtle ways, sometimes not so subtle ways other times, and it's been really incredible. Jaden, what did you think of that aspect of the story, and is that something you were expecting going in?
It's not, and it's something that I think has been incredibly important, not just in like in Star Wars, but just in like the media that we've been getting in general, like with the MCU and everything that we've been tackling, the things that we've been consuming. It's like it's kind of an eye opener. It's almost like, we have all these cool franchises, and yeah, they're all superheroes, and yeah, we want to see them fight and all this stuff, but the messages that they've been kind of subtly and sometimes not so subtly throwing into the mix is like, it's a really cool mix, and I enjoy it because it's something that I think needs to be put across and something that needs to be kind of handled and looked at. um but yeah, no, I completely agree. It's something that I, again, didn't expect, but I'm glad that it's there.
And it's something we see a tiny amount in things like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. But shout out our friend Mo, editor in chief of Streamer.com, who's in the chat right now, bringing up a great point. It shows the link between classism and racism, and you see the Empire on a smaller scale, which we haven't seen much of. We see big scale Empire all the time, and that's what I meant. We've seen tastes of it in Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, but still, that's more big scale. We're really seeing how it affects the everyday citizens, and so, um, the streamer.com. Sorry, Mo. I messed up the link, thestreamer.com. But yeah, I mess up names all the time. It was pretty darn close. And so yeah, that's something I just think they've done an incredible job of so far, and I'm excited for episode 4 and beyond to see what they do with that. Specifically, the characters we're getting introduced to, not just Cassian Andor, who we're of course seeing more of, but the other characters that we've gotten introduced to along the way. Jamie, who particularly are you fond of? Who is not doing it for you? And what did you think specifically of the link between the dating to betrayal we happen to see with the death at the end of episode 3?
Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, I definitely did a tweet roundup today for comicbook.com about all the people celebrating Tim's death, which, like, F that guy. I do, although, but there's a complication there too, because he ratted out Cassian to the cops. He's like, F that guy. But also, like, I also don't want to celebrate his death because of the way that the cops are just willy-nilly killing people, and that's bad. So I like the complexities of that. Also, though, think about Tim, Bix, girl, my girl. We know you can do better. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in space. But
In space.
in space ever. But also, I think like them hooking up was like the most amount of like sex I feel like we've ever really gotten in Star Wars. Like to the point where he's like he's getting up and you see he has his socks, and I'm like, have we ever seen just like a man wearing socks in Star Wars? Because we never see like sometimes you got Padme and Anakin in bed, but it wasn't like a morning after kind of a thing. But no, Bix can do better. I do feel like Diego Luna has kind of hinted that Cassian and Bix are like kind of a will they won't they possible thing, which we know isn't going to end well for anybody because we know how this ends. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting dynamic. I felt like Bix was like, she's just a girl who needs to get some, and Tim was there. Like, so that's what that went down. But in terms of my favorite characters, I'm just such a big Stellan Skarsgård fan. And not just because of Marvel, but mainly because of a little film called Mamma Mia, and I just deeply love him, and I'm excited to see what he's doing, and he's just cool. Most of his stuff in the third episode I saw before Rogue One in theaters, so I'm excited to see like new stuff with him and Mon Mothma. Like I'm just excited for all that. But of the characters we've met, I'm down, and that whoever the main cop is, I can't wait to see him get what's coming to him.
He had so much like it looked like panic attack, but I don't even want to like call it panic attack because I was kind of happy it was happening to him, and I don't want to wish that upon somebody. But like, I don't know, Jaden, who in particular did you identify with throughout the show? What storylines are you cheering for, and are you pro Tim death or were you sad about it?
Was not sad about it whatsoever. And that's because I am highly pro Cassian. Again, this was someone that I wasn't necessarily, I liked him in Rogue One, but it wasn't like I didn't see him going past the movie. And now that he is, and now that we're kind of getting his story, it's kind of cool to see that unravel. But I really enjoy his droid. I really love B. He is like super funny, and I love the whole bit about can you lie for me? And he's like, oh, I have enough power to lie for you, sure. And that was super funny. You never really think of like droids telling a lie and like them needing like extra power reserves for that. So that's really cool.
What I love, my favorite thing about I can't even just call him like B2 emo. I see the name B2 EMO, B2 emo. That should have just been my grade 8 code name. Like, got the hair coming over the eye here, like this. I wanted to dye my hair all black, and my older sisters didn't let me. B2 emo should have been my my code name in grade 8, and I agree. They Star Wars, it has no issue making us fall in love with droids. That's something they do well, and I think that's going to be the case here.
I'm so worried about him because Disney era loves to kill their droids. My favorite droid is L3, even though Solo's not my favorite movie, but I love L3, and she lasted 2 minutes. Same with K2. I love K2, although I do think we're gonna get K2 in season 2 of Andor. My theory is that season 1 of Andor is gonna end like Twilight Breaking Dawn, where Kristen Stewart eyes open red and she's a vampire. But season 1 of Andor is gonna end and it's K2 being changed into a reprogrammed. That's what I hope happens.
Oh, I love it. I think my personal favorite is Chopper, and I can't wait for Chopper to be in live action. And the other one I want to see in live action is Cal Kestis' droid BD. That would be fantastic as well. So we got a bunch of anti Tims in the chat and in and live here, and I think that's fair. MTF brought up a great point that was probably our very first Star Wars booty call. And I think that might be the case. And I think it's a great, Ryan Reflects says he loves the Breaking Dawn reference, Jamie. So good one there.
If I can talk about Twilight, I will talk about Twilight.
Yeah, we will. This is what we love having you on for. Is just like anything you need to rant about, anything that's not Marvel. I don't even care what we're talking about. This can be your spot to do it.
Yes, thank you.
Now, as I think about what we should talk to next, because I was busy and didn't create a rundown. But specifically, what I thought was hilarious about the Tim storyline is that was straight, like you brought up, Jaden, like you're pro Cassie and Andor, like that was straight a jealousy snitch.
Yeah.
Like that was snitching just straight based on, I think this guy might be better looking than me and I'm intimidated.
Yeah.
Jamie, as soon as I said that, you had like a big look, so I want to know your take on that.
It's just so gross, man. Like I don't know. Have some self confidence. She just had sex with you. Like show a little backbone. Also, like even if you walked in on Bix and Cassie and like straight up doing it, you don't turn into a fascist because of it. You straight up made him a fascist. I mean, come on. Like again, I'm not saying he deserved to die, but I am saying he deserved to fall down some stairs at least.
Yeah, like very badly hurt his ankle at bare minimum, stub his toe and have the nail like permanently break off, something like that at bare minimum. He gave big like, I am nice to and I respect women who I want to sleep with, and therefore I'm a nice guy vibes. That's the kind of vibes I got from him there. But I want to talk about kind of our main big bad that we're getting so far. Like obviously he's reporting to the High Inspector, like they talk about in the third episode. And in episode 2, he gives the least inspirational speech I have ever heard in my life. It was just horrific. What do we think about this choice for kind of like a main antagonist? Because I feel like we're used to seeing an imposing, scary antagonist, and this guy just feels very bumbling, and like Cassian's always going to have the step ahead on him. So Jamie, I'm wondering what you think about this choice for the main antagonist.
Yeah, I
Or I
think
guess the main antagonist first through 3 episodes. Sorry.
yeah, for these episodes. I think that like it's a good choice because it's that classic, like he has this confidence and his boss literally told him not to do anything about it. And he went ahead and did it anyway. And then he realized that he was in over his head and he got a bunch of people killed and he was a big old doofus. And it's like I feel like we see this a lot with certain characters where it's like they it's ego and then it's crushed. And I really hope that I'm interested to see how he's going to bounce back. And I hope that he gets at least chewed out by his boss for going against his orders.
Yeah, and it definitely didn't go well. Like that wasn't the going against your orders type of Nick Fury Winter Soldier that Alexander Pierce tells the story that gets him promoted. That was the polar opposite kind that gets everybody killed. Jaden, what are you thinking about this guy so far?
Well, he said it at D23, I believe. He said it's a character that you're gonna love to hate, and I like him because of that. I think that he's a good villain. I think he's a good antagonist, and I think it's something that kind of brings it down to, I guess, not really our level, but like the level of like Andor, of like the citizens, like you kind of hit on before. It's not like this big, huge, oh my God, we got Vader looming over us. It's like, no, it's like this guy's here. He's obviously got something to prove. And I think that it's going to be kind of cool to see him, go through that and work through that.
And something that I think is a great point that MCF just brought up in chat is that I think, especially with the kind of touches on institutional racism, classism that we're seeing in this show, this antagonist is giving big, mediocre white guy who is going to fail up the chain throughout the Empire vibes. And I think that is a kind of a really good theme to mix in with what they're doing at the ground level right now.
I totally agree with that.
And so before we get out of here, I want to just talk about specifically the backstory. Jamie, you talked about how I'm forgetting how to pronounce the name properly, but Aunt Petunia um,
Fiona Shaw.
kind of Fiona Shaw, but still the character
Yeah.
I know it starts with an M. The
Marva?
character
Marva?
Marva, maybe.
Marva. Yeah.
Marva, yeah. Marva
think that's
basically
it.
steals him away, and I don't know if I missed, like, I feel like this is one of two things. Either there was a lot more kind of like deaths on the planet than I realized, and he didn't really have anybody to go back to, but I kind of thought that he did, especially since his sister's still alive. But yes, I get he had to get out before the people got there, and he wasn't going to be doing that. I may have missed something there, but with all the important issues they're kind of touching on, I'm like, that is maybe like being from Canada, and just with things like the type of institutional racism we have here, with like the 60s scoop, where the government essentially took indigenous children away from their homes because they felt it was unfit, and they just put them in white homes. And while this isn't the case, because that's the same, because it's not a government person taking him away, it was someone trying to protect him from the government. I'm still kind of interested in how they touch on that going forward. Jamie, what did you think about the origin, the backstory, and then leading to that?
Yeah, I think that, like, I think we have to explore that further, because there was like a white savior moment where maybe she was right. Maybe they were gonna wipe that planet, but I mean, him and his friends had something going. He has a sister to take care of. He couldn't speak her language. He didn't have any say in basically being kidnapped. And the fact that, like, all these years later they are still close leads me to believe, like, you know, again, maybe it was the right call. But I felt uncomfortable when she did it, for sure. Um, and again, like, they have to address this more. But I think that your comparison to that is pretty on point. Because I felt icky when she scooped up that kid and was like, nope, this is what's for the best for him. But like, but we do know his sister probably did survive. So what was going on with those kids? Like, there's a lot of questions to be answered, and I'm excited that we have 24 episodes to delve into this.
Yeah, with them already kind of confirming season 2, and we know we're going to get more, it definitely does lend patience. Like, it's not like one of those Marvel series where it's like, well, we're only getting 6 episodes, what's going to happen? We know we can sit back, wait, try and acknowledge everything that's going on, and it will the stories that we're hanging on will probably get wrapped up. Jaden, what did you think about Cassian's origin? Did seeing him as a kid, seeing his family, seeing his culture, did that enhance the character for you?
I think it did. I think it did enhance the character, only because you see where he's come from. You see, what he was doing when he was a kid, and he had someone to take care of, and being where he's at now, kind of the lone wolf that kind of just looks after himself, kind of thing. I think that's interesting, and I, like Jamie said, I think we definitely have to explore, what happened in the time between, him being taken up and then where he is now, because that relationship between him and Marva is definitely gonna gotta be interesting. She took him from his sister, and now he has no idea where she is, and he's only just now, trying to find her. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you absolutely. And MTF brought up another great point, and this is honestly one of the storylines I'm most interested in the rest of the show. Is it's probably a source of tension between the two of them, especially since that he's now actively looking for his sister, and that's somebody specifically that she took him away from. And so even if she was trying to save his life, he's now once again risking his life to do what? Get back to what she took him away from. And so you can see why there'd be that tension between the two of them. Is she's sitting there being like, I saved you, and now you're trying to you're putting your life in danger again, and he's being there like, yeah, well, that's what, like, you know what I mean? So it's a tough it's going to be a tough thing for them to balance, and I'm excited to see where that is, what happens between the two of them going forward. Jamie, before we get out of here, do you have any last points from the 3 episodes? I'm having such a difficult time covering this as 3 episodes. Like,
it feels like
it would
one.
have
I don't
helped.
remember what happened in which one, except for the end. I totally don't remember.
Exactly.
Um,
That's like for me, the biggest thing I took away that I was like hyped up about is when Stellan Skarsgård said to Diego Luna, "Don't you want to fight them for real?" And I was like, "Okay, where's this show going?" And it got me all hyped up. Jamie, what are your final thoughts?
yeah, I'm so excited to see where this goes. I literally like we're just eaten this year with between Star Wars and Marvel content, and this is kind of, I feel like, show wise, the kind of our last big show. And we get 12 weeks of that. Well, no, 9. Math is hard. But I don't know. I just am happy for Diego Luna. He's so good. I'm excited to see just little I'd love a little some more Rogue One sprinkles. Just can't wait to see how he gets from this point to that point, because he's got a long way to go before he's sacrificing himself for the greater good, and I'm excited to see that journey. And also, one thing that I actually thought was really interesting was the way that uh he killed that guy in the beginning, and my friend Annie was like, oh, look at that. And I was like, we met Cassian killing an ally the first time we ever see Cassian. He kills somebody who's working with him. In this case, he's killing an enemy. So like, I think we're gonna see some brutal stuff from him.
Yeah, I think that's an absolutely great point. Jaden, how about you? Final thoughts. What did you think? Anything we didn't touch on from the first three episodes, and also, what are you most excited about going forward?
I think we kind of hit on the major points out of these 3 episodes. So nothing much to add there, but I do think that this is gonna put the rebellion, I guess, in a much different light. Especially like Jamie said, it's gonna be pretty brutal. The things that Andor is capable of, and just to see how it started in the first 10 minutes of the series, it's like, okay, well, we still have what 12 more episodes to go, so that's gonna be really interesting. And this was something that I actually was thinking about while I was sitting here. Like, I'm actually like, when I first heard about this, coming out, and the time period that it was kind of encapsulating, I was thinking, it'd be really cool to see some sprinkles of like the rebels, like the animated, Hera and all them. But I honestly don't think it's gonna need any of that. Um, just within the first 3 episodes, I'm hooked, and all I need is Cassian and whatever he's embarking on throughout the rest of the series. And if we get some sprinkles, that'll be cool, but it really doesn't need it. And I'm super hyped for that.
Yep, I agree with you. And if we get them, great. It'll be a lot of fun, but I definitely
Yeah.
don't think it needs it. I think the story they're telling is fantastic. And when I was the second time I watched, when I was much more energetic, I clued into a lot more of the thematic elements they were telling that I missed on the first one. So thank you to the super engaging chat who's been talking with us throughout. I apologize. I have not done a good enough job keeping up with the YouTube chat specifically. We had Thomas Rochester and Matt Aguilar chatting in there, and I totally missed it. So
Hi,
thanks to
Matt.
everyone for tuning in. I'm not sure if he's still there, but he was, and so we always love when Matt comes on. We've had him on a few times, and we're gonna have to get him back on in the future as well, because the whole comic book crew, comicbook.com crew, is just spectacular. And so, Jamie, why don't you tell us where the people can find you, some of the stuff you're working on right now before we log off?
Great. On Twitter and Letterboxd, I'm at Jamie Cinematics. You definitely want to be following me on Letterboxd right now because it's spooky season and I'm watching a lot of good, fun horror movies. I have so many great recommendations. The Great Satan, the Day of the Beast, Phenomena. I've watched so many good stuff already that I've never seen before. Definitely follow me there. And then my other podcast, in addition to Phase Zero, is Hollywood Already Did It, where this season we are pairing each She-Hulk episode with courtroom comedies. We've done My Cousin Vinny, Legally Blonde. Then we're gonna do some Ally McBeal, stuff of that sort. So check that out.
Love it. And yeah, definitely check out Jamie's letterbox, because that's something the chat has been actually talking about since the beginning is Jamie's got the best letterbox around. So make sure you check that out as well. Jaden, we know you got the Andor review up on agentsofandom.com right now, but what else have you been working on, and where can the people find you?
Just kind of trying to keep up with Still a lot of stuff. We got a lot of great content coming out, especially with this past not this weekend, but like 2 weekends ago, we got D23. So we got a lot of cool stuff to look forward to. So be sure to check us out on Agents of Fandom's TikTok, which is just at Agents of Fandom. You can hit us up on Twitter, and yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see if Ruben can fire these up on the screen before we get out of here. But he designed some incredible shirts that are up on agentsofandom.com as well that are Daredevil themed, because as we know, if it's not next episode of She-Hulk, it'll be right after The Devil is Back. And so we got a lot of Matt Murdock stands in the chat. And so make sure you check out the store on our website as well, because we got some really cool stuff for that. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. But I guess not this week's, because we got another one tomorrow. And so make sure you check out the podcast feeds. If you're watching live, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And we'll see you again later this week. Peace.